Hello, welcome, fellow grievers. And this episode, we are going to talk about why grief hits harder months later. So, welcome, everybody. I'm so glad that you're here. And this is something that I often hear is where people are like, it, like the grief, it hasn't hit me. Like, I feel numb. And then a few months later, it starts to sink in and it starts to hit. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm doing so much worse now than I was when they first died. And it can make us feel like we're doing something wrong because this wasn't like this when they first died. Like I would think, like we think that when they first died, that's when we would feel the worst and that's when it would hit. But really what happens is in the beginning, when somebody dies, we feel shock. We we have a lot of support. We have people checking in on us. And and as the months go on, this fades away, right? Like the shock fades away and reality starts to sink in. The reality that they're never going to call again. You can't ever call them again. That they're not just going to walk in the door. You can't ask them for advice. You can't just talk to them, right? That they're missing different things. I know for me, a big one was when the kids started having their birthdays and it just really started to hit like, oh my gosh, like life is moving on and my parents aren't here for this. And as that starts to sink in, it can feel so painful. And again, then we kind of have like the shock has faded away. So it really the pain really is hitting us. And what I want you to know is that this is this is normal. Okay? Like this when all this happens, when the shock fades, when the support kind of goes away, when the reality settles in, like this is when the true grief processing begins. It doesn't mean that anything has gone wrong. It doesn't mean that you're in a, it might feel like you're in a worse place, but it really doesn't mean like you're going backwards. And we think that we're going backwards in our grieving, in our healing. And this is not what's happening. It really is just because grief is beginning. Okay? So this later grief is very, very normal. And I want you when you start to feel that panic of like, oh my gosh, I'm worse off now. If I'm worse off now, months down the road, what am I going to be like in a year? What am I going to be like in 2 years? Like, and so we start to kind of spiral on that. And when you notice that is happening, I want you to just tell yourself, be like, my mind is catching up to what happened. That's it. It's just my mind catching up. Our mind is just a little delayed. It's a little slow to the game here. Okay. It's okay, right? Just like, I don't know, none of my kids went to preschool. So when they started kindergarten, a lot of the other kids, like, they kind of were almost to the point where they could already read. And my kids weren't. And I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I need to hire a private tutor. It's just like, no, their mind is just catching up. Right? Like they're just getting all this new information for the first time in kindergarten where these other kids got introduced to it in preschool. So I want you to look at it like that you're not behind. You just got new information and you're just processing it. Okay? So this is kind of a short episode because I just really want you just to focus on that, right? To really focus on my mind is just processing. I'm not behind. It's I don't think you can say like it's not going to get worse because my brain if somebody would have told me my brain would have not believed that. I would be like, how do you know though? I mean, I can tell you like this is really about the hardest part when your brain when all the shock starts to wear off and all of the grief starts to begin. That really does feel like the hardest part. And for some people, it lasts a few months. It can last longer. For me, there was a lot of other life circumstances. And so for me, it lasted about a year and a half to 2 years. I wouldn't say that's most people's experience though. So I don't know if I would tell myself like this is the hardest part, but it kind of trust me when I say this is the hardest part. Okay. So, but if that feels too hard to believe, then I would just say, oh, my mind is just catching up. My mind is just processing this new information. Okay. If you're in the stage where the support has faded, but the grief hasn't, you are welcome to schedule a free grief consult call with me. Go to catholicgriefcoach.com and book that free call, and we can talk through this. All right? Because sometimes we just need somebody to be like, yeah, this is normal. Yes, absolutely. This is okay. So go there, book your free consult call, and you are so loved, and we'll take the next steps together.